Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Congressman Lance. My name is Caroline Scott. I'm from Frenchtown, New Jersey. You and I have met several times, and thank you for hosting this evening. We very much appreciate it. My question is really, well, I have lots of questions, but I know I can only ask one. So my question is about health care and why there is a need to make this a partisan issue. Why repeal? Why not reform the ACA?
Thank you. That is an excellent question. I hope that this can be an issue that is bipartisan in nature. I agree with you. And I do not think it should be a partisan issue because I do not think the health care of the American people are a partisan issue. And what I have said is that I favor not repeal alone, and I have consistently said that I do not favor repeal alone, and the record will clearly indicate that. What I have said is repeal and replace, and more recently, I have defined that as repairing the ACA moving forward. Let me give you what I think is the challenge regarding this. The marketplaces for the exchanges are not doing well. On February 14th, 2017, Humana announced it was pulling out of the ACA marketplace. Last August, Aetna announced that it was reducing its marketplace share. Last April, United Healthcare announced it was leaving 31 of 34 states. In 2017, New Jersey had only 2 insurers offering products on the exchange, down from 5 in 2016. In 2017, 5 states have only 1 insurance issuer in the ACA exchange. Now, as you know, the ACA exchange accounts for the health care of perhaps 7 or 8 million Americans who did not have health care prior to the passage of the ACA. By far the greater number are in the Medicaid expansion, and New Jersey is one of those states that expanded Medicaid. Not all of the states expanded Medicaid, but New Jersey was one of, I think, 31 states, plus the District of Columbia, 32 jurisdictions that expanded Medicaid. The original legislation had required the expansion of Medicaid, but the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that that was unconstitutional. And so we are in a situation where I think we should repair it. And I do not favor repeal without there being a replacement in place. And what I think is that we have to make clear that as we move forward in repairing it, that there is no denial of coverage based upon a pre-existing condition. Number 1, letting young people stay on their parents' policies until they're 26. No lifetime caps. And I want to assure the public, that the majority in each house of the federal Congress, I believe, will make sure that these provisions continue. There is, however, a challenge as it relates to the Medicaid expansion. And I want to be as up to date as I can, because I've been involved in discussions in this in Washington. When the Supreme Court declared the ACA constitutional, it did not do so, ladies and gentlemen, based upon the Commerce Clause, as was widely believed to be the case. It said it was only constitutional based upon the Tax Clause. The President repeatedly said it was not a tax. He said it was a penalty. The Supreme Court disagreed, said it could only go forward based upon the tax clause, number one. Number two, central to the president's proposal was expansion of Medicaid in all 50 states, based upon the fact that Medicaid had been covered in all 50 states. Originally, Medicaid was a program where states did not have to enter it, but all of the states have entered it, and then the president in his legislation said that all of the states had to expand Medicaid to 138% of poverty. That would have made that Medicaid expansion, of course, the law of the land throughout the entire United States. Supreme Court said that was unconstitutional. So we're now in the untenable position of having some states expand Medicaid, including New Jersey. Governor Christie and our state legislature expanded Medicaid. That is a decision with which I agree. But there are quite a few states, 18 in total, I believe, that did not expand Medicaid, and their representatives in Congress, of course, want to know why funds are going to the states that expanded Medicaid because they did not expand Medicaid. Now, the federal match, and I think this is very important, and I hope that I'm not getting into the weeds here, but I think this is what the discussion in Washington is about. I think, ladies and gentlemen, this is what the discussion in Washington is about. The match, the federal match for the Medicaid expansion is what started at 100% and will go down to 90% in year 2020. So 90% of the money comes from the federal government. I do not think that that percentage is sustainable given the fact that so many states, including large states like Texas and Florida, have not expanded Medicaid. So there may have to be a modification of that, and I'm fighting as hard as I can in Washington to make sure that that modification is not significant, but it may be. New Jersey gets a 50% match based upon regular Medicaid. I think that's where we are. I want to make sure that there is continuous coverage for everybody, including those who have received coverage in expanded Medicaid, including those in the exchanges, but let me state that the exchanges are, in my judgment, in very poor shape. I've indicated the figures in New Jersey and across the nation, and I think we have a responsibility in Washington to try to make the system better. Thank you for your question. I will now ask whether the person on whom I first called is here. Is the person whose last four digits are 8657, is that person here? Is this gentleman the gentleman with that number? There's a microphone. You're welcome to ask me a question at the mic.
Hello, Leonard Lance. My name is Michael Scardina. I am from Hillsborough, New Jersey. Thank you. I'm a student here at RVCC, and I also running for student government president, so I'm looking to get involved.
Good luck to you. I also would wish good luck to whoever you might be running against. But
I won't take that personally.
Well, thank you.
Countless times you voted against women's rights to choose, including defunding Planned Parenthood. And you've approved the Toxic Pennies pipeline, the proposed 115-mile, 125 feet wide pipeline that would transport fracked natural gas from Pennsylvania to Hunterdon County, New Jersey, crossing 88 waterways, 44 wetlands, 33 parks, and 85% is proposed to cross the Delaware watershed. Whether the FERC approves it or not, it will cause irreparable damage to our beautiful environment. Why should people trust you when you prioritize financial gains over women's rights and over the future of our environment?
Thank you, Michael, and you're welcome to stay at the mic because I hope this is interactive. You're welcome to stay at the mic because I hope this is interactive.
I really appreciate that. That is very respectful.
Thank you. I hope I'm known as a person who is respectful. Regarding the Pennies pipeline, I have come out against the Pennies pipeline, and I have written FERC on several occasions regarding the Pennies pipeline. And the reason that I am against it is that it would, under its current configuration, go underneath at least some land that has already been preserved in New Jersey. Now, the federal government does not have to comply with our state law in New Jersey, but the statute that was written in the 1930s says that the federal government should take into consideration, at the very least, statutory law here in New Jersey. And when I was in our state legislature, working with Senator Bateman and others, I worked on open space legislation, Green Acres legislation. I think at least one time that it reached the ballot, it was my legislation in Trenton. Others have been involved since 1961, and I have been involved to the greatest extent possible when I was in the state legislature. And when we preserve land in New Jersey, there can be no further development on that land. And that is why I think the federal government should take that into consideration, whether or not it approves, and this would be FERC, the Federal Energy Commission, whether or not it approves the pipeline. Now, FERC at the moment is controlled at the moment by the Democratic Party because there are 5 members of the commission, and the party in power in the White House controls the majority of those seats. Undoubtedly, that will change now that President Trump is president, but at the moment, FERC is controlled. FERC is controlled at the moment by the Democratic Party, and I don't know how FERC is going to rule, but I have worked with interested parties, including an environmental group in that area. It's in southern Hunterdon County that I think there is the concern in this district. It's also a concern in Congresswoman Watson Coleman's district in Mercer County, and I have worked with her office on this issue as well. Now, you also raised the issue of funding for Planned Parenthood, and that is an important issue. And I have consistently voted in Washington for what is known as the Hyde Amendment that prohibits any federal funding for the abortion procedure. I understand there are many in the I understand there are many in the audience who disagree with that. The Hyde Amendment, the Hyde Amendment has been the law in this country since 1976. It prohibits federal funding for the abortion procedure. An overwhelming majority of the American people, whether or not they're pro-life or pro-choice, do not favor federal funding for the abortion procedure. I have suggested in the past, and I repeat here this evening, that if Planned Parenthood were to separate itself into 2 distinct entities, one entity that deals with health services for women, and then another entity that deals with abortion, with 2 separate boards of directors, 2 separate organizations, separate locations, then I think it would be appropriate to continue funding. However, since it's unlikely that that will occur, I favor redirecting the funds. I favor redirecting the funds, dollar for dollar, to health care facilities that exist across America. And there are far many health care facilities, federally qualified health care facilities in this country than there are Planned Parenthood entities. And in this congressional district, I believe there is one Planned Parenthood facility in this congressional district, and I believe there are 6 federally qualified health care facilities. I do not want to reduce funding in any way for the program. I would hope that Planned Parenthood might consider what I have suggested. Regardless of that, I favor continued funding for the programs that I believe are necessary. Our next question.
I'll just say, Planned Parenthood is not the problem, it's the solution.
Our next question comes from 8612. 8612.
Hello, Congressman Lance. Thank you for being here. Hello. All right. Hello, Congressman Lance. Thank you for being here.
Certainly.
My name is Bruce Tunkel. I live right across the street by where Senator Bateman lived. So this is kind of a general question, but with President Trump and his many conflicts of interest that we suspect, I'm just wondering if it turns out that we investigate and he has ties to Russia and things like that, do you support impeachment?
I am a lawyer by training, and I certainly do not want to prejudice how I might have to vote on any matter of that regard. I think the responsibility in the House of Representatives to impeach or not to impeach is one of our most important responsibilities. As you know, an impeachment is the equivalent of an indictment, and then the United States Senate would be the judge and jury in effect, and it would take a 2/3 vote in the Senate to convict and remove a president or other high official from office. I think your larger question, if I might extrapolate, is whether there should be an investigation regarding Russian involvement in the recent election, both involvement by the Russians, and I think there clearly was involvement. I think that is a matter of public record, as the Russians unfortunately involve themselves in election contests in other parts of the world, and whether there should be an investigation regarding Russian involvement in the recent election, both involvement by the Russians, and I think there clearly was involvement. I think that is a matter of public record, as the Russians unfortunately involve themselves in election contests in other parts of the world, and whether there should be an investigation regarding Russian involvement in the recent election, both involvement by the Russians, and I think there clearly was involvement. on the other side whether there was any involvement from the Trump campaign with Russia. I have confidence in the intelligence committees of the Congress of the United States. And in particular, Senator Burr, the Republican chair in the Senate, and Senator Warner, the ranking Democrat in the Senate, are at the moment taking the lead on this. And I have been encouraged by the bipartisan nature of what seems to be occurring by the Intelligence Committee in the Senate. Now, our Intelligence Committee in the House, it's Congressman Nunes from California, and Ranking Member Schiff. And I believe they will conduct an investigation as well. But your further question, if I might extrapolate, is what if somehow that bipartisan cooperation does not continue? And I think the lead at the moment is in the Senate with Senator Burr and Senator Warner. I hope that that bipartisan cooperation will continue, and those committees have a record of being bipartisan. But if that were not to occur, and I place it in the subjunctive voice, if it were not to occur, then of course the question would arise whether or not there should be another committee. And I understand that. But first, I want to give the intelligence committees the authority to do what I think they are doing. And at the moment, I have confidence in those committees. And of course, we will be guided by what they determine. And beyond that, I'm not going to comment on a speculative matter, because I would be a person who would be involved as a member of the House in any action in that regard.
Could I just quick follow-up?
Of course you may follow.
Thank you. Well, how long do we wait to find out if there will be investigation? And the thing is, it's not saying that anything is or is not going on that shouldn't be, but there's a lot of questions, obviously, based on President Trump's failure to release tax returns. We know. We also know that he has business interests internationally, including with Russia. That he is not a